My boyfriend of 16 years won't commit to me. I'm worried I've been turned into the side chick in our open relationship. Let me start off by saying I, 29F, love my boyfriend, 30M. We've been together since high school, and when I picture my future, it always includes him. However, I'm not sure he feels the same way. For context, I worry that he's only with me because we have a semi-open relationship, and he doesn't think he can find another woman who would agree to that. I don't think I'm explaining it right, but essentially, we can sleep with other people as long as we're both there. It was his idea, and now I think it may have been his way of getting the best of both worlds without having to commit to either. My boyfriend, let's call him Rick, and I live together. In fact, we own a home together, and even though we've owned a home together for 16 years, I still feel like just a roommate to him, as if he can't fully commit to me. Here are some things he does that make me question whether he's really in this with me or not. Despite living together and owning a home, we keep our bank accounts separate. He also insists on paying the mortgage by himself with his own account every month. I contribute by covering some utilities and buying groceries, but it feels as if I'm paying rent to live in his home. Rick has not allowed me to put any personal touches on our home. Though we've lived in it for a while, it looks the same as when we moved in, with the exception of the room his computer is in, which is decorated to his liking. Every time I mention something we could do, such as painting or show him something I like, he either tells me it's dumb or says he doesn't like it. I don't push him because I don't want to start an argument. Rick and I recently got engaged. Now, I know that doesn't scream commitment issues, but hear me out. A few years ago, a couple of close friends of ours got engaged, and I was upset because I've had to watch all of my friends get married after being with their boyfriends for much shorter periods of time. He caught on to the bad mood I was in during their engagement and wedding, so I told him why I was upset, and a week after their wedding, he agreed to get me a ring. I even went with him to buy it. I thought I was finally getting somewhere, but he told me it wasn't an engagement, and that I could wear it, but he'd ask when he was ready. It's like he bought the ring to shut me up about marriage. After months of his friends cracking jokes about our non-engagement, he finally just decided one night while we were at home that it could be official. He said he had a huge plan to surprise me with a proposal, but I never heard anything else about it. It wasn't my dream proposal, but it was finally happening, so I said yes. He insisted on a long engagement, at least a year, and didn't want to set a date at first. I began planning and looking at wedding stuff because I figured it would eventually happen, but he never seemed interested. It's been about 6 months now, and we've picked a date with much pushing on my part, but he wants nothing to do with any wedding planning unless it's to voice his dislike of something I've done. He spends most of his days on his computer when he's not at work, and if he does happen to come out to see me, he goes right back shortly after if I so much as bring up the wedding. He has very strong opinions about what our wedding shouldn't be, but doesn't want to talk about the wedding at all to give me an idea of what he does want. Every idea I have for the wedding gets shot down. It's almost as though he's trying to prevent the wedding from ever happening by making sure I can't plan it. He told my close friend's husband that he regrets proposing because I've been going crazy about the wedding, and that he wouldn't have proposed had he known what I was going to act like. Like what? He's surprised that wedding planning takes place after you get engaged? I don't think I'm going overboard about any of it, but it's a huge deal to me. I've spent over half of my life with this man, and I've always dreamed of a huge wedding. I just don't know what to do. It's like he agrees to commit to me in certain ways, but when it comes to actually doing anything concrete, he can't do it. It's hard to talk to friends about it, because the ones who do know about the situation think he proposed just to get everyone off his back about it. What do you guys think? Update 1. A lot has happened in the last couple of weeks, so I figured I'd post an update. I hired a lawyer and moved out one day while Rick was at work. Because my name is on the title and mortgage, my lawyer assures me he has to either sell the house and split the profits with me or buy me out. I know he can't afford to buy me out, so I assume we'll put it up for sale. I got most of my things out of the house, except for a vanity and a dresser that are too heavy for my friends and me to move. Since then, I've messaged Rick a few times to see what we're going to do about the house, and to schedule a time to come pick up the rest of my furniture. He's pretty evasive about all of it, so last Thursday, I showed up at the house with some friends to help me get my stuff, but he's changed the locks, so I can't get in. We wait for him to get off of work and come back, and he lets me in to get my stuff. All he said before he let me in was, "You asked for this, so I don't want to hear it." I didn't know what he meant by that. I was absolutely not prepared to walk through that door, but when I did, it became obvious why he didn't want me to come pick up my stuff. I didn't even recognize the house that I lived in just a week prior. It was painted, there was furniture and art and things everywhere, and I could tell by looking around that Rick didn't do this by himself. There are pictures of him and some other woman all over the place. They have to go back at least a year because one of them was taken on New Year's, though I couldn't tell what year. I can buy more furniture, but I couldn't spend a second more in that house, so I just left. Rick texted me right after I left, saying, "We're not selling, we're just going to buy you out." I was at a complete loss for words. I'm still in shock. I spent 16 years with that jerk, and he was with someone else for who knows how long. I'm trying to get over it the best I can, but it's hard. It would be hard leaving just because we've been together so long, but to find out that your life was pretty much a lie was a hard pill to swallow. What hurts even more is that for years I tried to decorate my house to make it a home, and he wouldn't let me. She couldn't have lived with him for more than a week, and the house already looks different. I honestly don't know how I was so blind, but I'm glad I got out when I did, even if he did waste half of my life. Edit. I just want to thank everyone again for all of their support. Many of you pointed out that my name would still be on the mortgage even if I sell, so I've decided not to sign the paperwork accepting the buyout. Rick was not okay with this and has been blowing up my phone ever since he found out today, calling me a petty B-word, and claiming I was just trying to ruin his life because he was finally happy. I know they're both upset because they put a lot of effort into the home in the short time since I've left, and honestly, I kind of feel better that they won't be able to enjoy it. I know it sounds terrible, but making this harder on them is making me feel better about the entire situation. For the majority of our relationship, I felt like he was always the one in control of everything, and now it's nice to have the final say. I know I've said a lot about how he's wasted half of my life, and I'd like to clarify that I don't think I'm too old or that it's too late for me. Just that I couldn't understand why this man would string someone along for as long as he did. He's pretty much all I've ever known, and it took a lot for me to leave him. I feel like I've missed out on a lot of the dating experience, but I think I'll be okay. I'm just going to enjoy being alone for right now. Since I moved out, I've been staying with a friend. I signed a lease for a one-bedroom apartment today, so by this time next week, I'll have my own place. I've already bought a bunch of things to decorate it with, and I didn't have to get anyone's permission to do so.